India since ancient times has been a rural country, but a transition is already underway. Urban India has grown more than 5 times since 1961, with a share of urban population rising to 31%. For the first time in history, more people were added to urban than to rural areas between 2001 and 2011, thus marking a demographic shift. This trend will take the number of people living in urban areas to 600 million by 2030, eventually making India an urban majority country by 2045. New urban centers continue to spring up. Between 2001 and 2011, the number of census towns grew almost threefold. 91 new urban agglomerations were formed. The population growth in large metros slowed down, and mid-sized cities have a growing share in the population. Of the 377 million urban Indians, about 120 million are children below 18 years of age and 36.5 million are children below 6 years. Thus, every third Indian living in a city is a young urban citizen. While this clearly makes urban India a youthful place, a question clearly confronts us all. What kind of future awaits these millions of urban children and youth? Every parent living in a city desires a bright and safe future for their child. This dream is articulated by the Constitution of India, which guarantees to every child a right to free education and right to have a normal childhood free from abuse and labor. These rights are echoed in the Child-Friendly Cities Framework. Launched in 1996, it speaks of a number of basic child rights. All the right laws are in place, but India stands far from realizing this urban dream. As per Census 2011, over 13 million households live in poverty and squalor across urban slums. The number of urban poor is 76 million. More than 8 million children under 6 live in slums, undoubtedly most vulnerable to unplanned urbanization. There is clearly a shortage of urban primary health facilities as against the standard norm. All childhood mortality indicators among urban poor are higher than the urban averages. Child sex ratio in cities has continuously declined and remains lower than in villages, thus defying the myth that the female fetus is safer in cities. The nutrition scenario in cities is no better. About half urban households have access to safe drinking water within premises. 1 in 5 urban households does not have a toilet. The number of urban dwellers who defecate in the open is growing. 500,000 children under 5 are killed every year by diarrhea. Cities do not have enough schools when compared to the proportion of children who live there. In 2007, a government study found that 55% of street children experience sexual abuse. The million-plus cities are major contributors to crimes against children. The vulnerability of urban poor children is more in times of disaster. In 2014, the city of Srinagar saw unprecedented floods. It left 250,000 children to suffer without safe drinking water, medical aid, nutrition, and safe spaces. To understand why urban India has failed to become child-friendly, we need to look at how our cities are governed. Empowered by the Constitutional Amendment of 1992, the urban local bodies form the third tier of India's governance structure. The local bodies are expected to take care of development, public health, welfare, and public safety in cities. Some of the weaknesses of our urban governance system include the following: poor adoption of model municipal law by states, ward and district level committees not formed in most states, lack of accountability of municipal commissioners, lack of taxation options, which means a lack of funds for development of schools, parks, and playgrounds, needs of children ignored in urban planning. The ambitious JNNURM mission has reached out to more than 60 Indian cities and aimed to bring about 22 key reforms. However, its objectives do not mention specific needs of children. The report recommends the following: adopt child-led planning processes to enable children to suggest solutions to the challenges they encounter. Make land use planning more sensitive to the needs of vulnerable children. Include children as a priority group in the National Urban Sanitation Program. Undertake a national census of street children to help plan their shelter and rehabilitation. Implement a new set of policies to protect the legal rights of urban children. City-level planning for urban disasters, including the heat and cold waves, which impact the urban homeless. Develop distinct models of childcare, especially for health, nutrition, and education, with a focus on marginalized urban population. These would include specific steps like monitoring child health indicators separately for slums, providing creches attached to ICDS centers for working mothers and mobile creches for migrants. Teacher training on multilingual teaching strategies to meet the special needs of the mobile population. Direct nutritional program for vulnerable urban population. Prioritizing drinking water and sanitation for homeless children.